the more technological we become, the more human we also need to become.
Välkommen till Heja Framtiden. This episode will follow in English. It's a collaboration between Heja Framtiden, Warp Institute and SingularityU Nordic Summit in Stockholm. Please visit hejaframtiden.se for all information about this podcast. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, SoundCloud, etc. So thank you for tuning in. I hope you'll enjoy this. Heja Framtiden. Okay, let's jump right into it.
Yes.
Right? Hi, Laila Pawlak.
Yes, that's right.
Welcome to Heja Framtiden.
Thank you.
You're a founding member of the Copenhagen SingularityU faculty.
Yes, so I started SingularityU Nordic along with my co-founder. We cover not just Denmark, but all of the Nordics.
Exactly. And it's a big day for you now.
It is.
Congratulations on an amazing event so far.
Yeah, there's 1,000 people, so we're excited. That's completely sold out.
And you don't have time for this.
Well, we've been working on this so hard for a year, but I saw you looking at my stomach, so I'm assuming it's because I'm very, very pregnant at the time. So, she'll be coming in a few weeks. So,
are you managing the stress?
You know what? This is not, the stress is before. Now it's, we're doing it. Everybody's here. Speakers are awesome and people are happy. And so now we're just rocking it.
So the listeners may not know exactly what SingularityU is. Can you tell us briefly the philosophy behind it?
Sure. Yeah. So Singularity University was founded in Silicon Valley about a decade ago. And about a year and a half ago, we started up in the Nordics as well. And really the main sort of thought behind it is how can we make sure that people are aware of how technology is developing really, really fast in both artificial intelligence and robotics and digital biology and all of these different technologies that are not only developing at a rapid pace, but they're also converging. How can we make sure people understand this so that they can leverage technology to make an impact in the world? And we talk about the global grand challenges, really, and we address this also today, really thinking about how we use technology for good in an ethical, responsible way so that we can make our societies better and more prosperous for everybody.
And why is the Nordic region and Stockholm a good place for this right now?
Well, so I think really fundamentally, a lot of people are looking to the Nordics and say, I had somebody say to me yesterday, everything works here, kind of surprised, right? And I think the notion is a lot of people look to our region where we are very fortunate, and they look at the way that we build societies, the way that we have businesses, we have still some way to go on diversity, but compared to the rest of the world, we're very, very far ahead. We have inclusion in better than in most places. There's a lot of things going on that are good for us. And I think if we at the same time become the region that understands how to leverage technology in a positive, good way, then we can become role models for the world. And show the world how it's possible to use technology with a value set that is ethical, responsible. And I think this is an opportunity, but I also think it might even be a responsibility that we have in the Nordics. So that's why I think it's time now that if not now, then when?
Exactly. So how does it work if you want to sign up?
Well, generally, we are just excited. We want to democratize the knowledge about technology and how you can use technology to positively impact the world. So anyone who does that, we applaud that. We try to work with anybody who is doing that. But we also have different kinds of programs where we work with companies and organizations, and we do a lot of activities like the summit here, but also I'm super excited. We have 100 students here from all over the Nordics that are sponsored by Teleeducate here. We have 100 startups that are here funded by the Hub and plus Impact and Danske Bank. But we also do Next year, we're actually looking at doing this big student summit with like somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000 students.
Wow.
And doing like what we're doing today, but only for students. So the way to get engaged is right now is to follow #SU Nordic. That's the way to kind of follow what's going on. But I think it's really connecting in your local community, and you can always reach out to us at SU Nordic to kind of see how you can get involved. We do a lot of different impact initiatives, and we're always welcoming people that are that want to make the same difference in the world that we are looking to.
But I mean, if you're an executive and you really want to pursue this education, do I just apply on the website?
Yeah. So if you're looking from a sort of more corporate perspective and really want to deep dive into these things, we run what we call an executive program that is very popular. We run it 4 or 5 times a year. It gathers executives from around the Nordics and beyond. For 3 days, where we literally emerge into all of these different technologies, have a lot of different speakers from around the world coming in, and it's basically, I kind of think of it a little bit like, you update your iPhone once in a while, and you get this update so you can run the newest apps. This is what this is. It's the update that enables you to really understand what's going on in the world, so that you can go home and apply some of these things in your organization. So you can all look at that at our website, which is sunordic.org, and just apply to go to these programs.
So it's mainly web-based, but you also can...
No, these are physical programs.
Oh, these are physical programs.
They're run in our Copenhagen hub. So at our 7,000 square meter innovation campus in Copenhagen is where we run these programs. We also work with different kinds of organizations and do more customized programs. So if your organization is looking to work with your customers or your employees, then we also do different kinds of more localized and customized programs with companies around the Nordics.
Okay. So how do you see SingularityU evolving over the next few years? Will it spread across the world?
Yeah, so we have been, I dare to almost say, on an exponential journey. We started 10 years ago, and now we have more than 200,000 sort of alumni around the world in our community. We have more than 150 chapters, which are volunteer entities that run salons and community events in a bunch of cities around the world. So I think there are 2 things. One is obviously we are going to also do more sort of online to reach an even broader audience. And the other thing is we are going to go even more global. So we are seeing that there's a strong demand for getting all of this technological insight into sort of also a local setting, which is also part of what we're doing now, is really putting a Nordic perspective on some of these things, right? So it's important to have a global outlook, but also a local representation. So we are going to have more of these local representation. And just for the Nordics, we're going to see a lot more different kinds of programs. We're engaging with a lot of different groups of people. As I said, we're doing a lot of different impact initiatives as well. So I'm really excited about the future. There's just some good stuff coming down.
And do you think the timing is right? Because, as you said, the technologies are converging.
Yeah.
So you can actually use all the bits and pieces of it.
Yeah, I think we're at a time
use
really.
It for your own.
Yeah, I think we're in a time where, being an expert in just one area, artificial intelligence, is great. But really what we are going to see is how artificial intelligence merges with what the 3D printing that is happening in medtech, for example. And suddenly we're going to see whole new different types of products and services and offerings that are based off of this convergence between different technologies, which is why it's so important to get out there and go into these different kinds of communities and not just stay within your own industry, but really look abroad and really also look, towards other industries and communities where people are working on different stuff than what you're working on. But there's some principles that they're applying that might be super relevant for your industry. So it's really about connecting way more than it has been before. So it's really interesting. The more technological we become, the more human we also need to become. And that's really interesting.
But you also run a business in Copenhagen called Dare2.
Yeah, so we actually merged a lot of those activities into SU, but we still run a physical place called Dare2 Mansion that is now part of our 7,000 square meters innovation hub.
Oh, okay. And you have been working with customer experiences in times of exponential technologies.
Yes.
So what is different about the customer experiences?
Well, so like any other thing and area, it's customers are being, used to now that technology has sort of invaded different areas, and so they're expecting way more convenience, making it easier, faster, cheaper to, just look at music. You have access to all of the music in your Spotify account. But at the same time, they're all looking for the authentic, the real. We talk about having to either spend your time well, like the vinyl record, for example. That's not like super convenient and cheap and smart, right? But it's the authentic, real experience. So that's spending your time well, while Spotify is saving time and making it easy, fast, convenient. So tomorrow at the summit here, I'll be talking a lot more about how do we design for these customer experiences in the future, because technology is playing a part for that. And in serving our customers better, and the demands are not going down.
So, apart from the executive level, what kind of knowledge do you think we all need to prepare for the future?
Well, so I think several things, right? I think we have to look at our education, kind of like I did the analogy to updating your iPhone, but really the basic education that we took is like an operating system that you install first time you open your telephone or your computer, right? You have to install this operating system, and that's great, but you have to continue to update, because otherwise you can't run the newest apps and the newest programs and all that. And we have to look at ourselves the same way. We need to continuously find ways to upgrade ourselves. And I mean that in a sense that even though we think we know a lot about in our own area, we need to also be able to step outside of our own area and kind of understand what's going on in technology, in business, in all of these areas. But I also think, and I believe this strongly, that we need to connect really strongly with our human values and really connect with and evolve our language around ethics, around what do I want to contribute with in the world, what's important to me, how do I work and play with companies and organizations that are matching that value. And I think we're really seeing that, because as I said, the more technological we become, the more human we also need to become. So it's really, really important that we understand what is important to me as an individual. How do I make choices that are based on that? Because we all kind of need to be our own little philosophers in a way to be able to make these ethical choices, because we have a lot of impact, actually. Each individual person can choose to spend their time, money, and attention on different things and an abundance of things. But we need to also take our responsibility in making sure that the world is going in the way that we want it to.
Very good. And setting up this program for the summit, what has been your philosophy?
Yeah, so for the summit this year, we are our sort of main theme is make it matter, right? There's a lot of things that we spend our time and attention and even money on that doesn't really matter. And we really wanted people to think about what makes it matter for them. So we brought in speakers not just on technology. We have some of the most forward-thinking people in different kinds of technology speaking here. But we also have people that are like Shiza, who co-founded the Malala Foundation, right? Really talking about how can courage and one person and the notion of, each and every one of us make a difference in the world. We have Manal speaking later, who is one of the driving forces behind lifting the driving ban for women in Saudi Arabia. And I think the whole notion of what's happening in Saudi Arabia right now, it could not be more current to really think about the world as well, right? And then Stephen Kotler, who's also talking about sort of flow and how do we make sure that we, in a world of technology, also create human flow and that we are in balance with ourselves and those kinds of things. So we're really looking at, you could say, to make it matter, we need to think about exponential technologies. We need to talk about impact leadership. How do you become an ethical leader? How do you make an impact in the world? And then we need to talk about how we scale our businesses in the right way.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Laila Pawlak.
You're so
for joining me.
welcome. Thanks.